All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the incredibly profound philosophy of Bodhidharma's Bloodline Treatise. But we aren't just going to sit here and dryly read ancient texts, right? Instead, we're looking at this strictly through the illuminating and honestly highly practical lecture notes and commentary of teacher Lin Mingxiang. What makes Teacher Lin's handout so absolutely brilliant is how he takes these massive cosmic concepts of Zen and Pure Land Buddhism and completely transforms them into a survival toolkit for modern life. So if you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by the daily chaos, you are definitely going to want to pay close attention to this one. So, here is our roadmap for today. We've got Mind and Nature Explained, The Patience of Non-Birth, Guan Yin in Daily Life, the Pure Land Method, and we'll wrap up with the power of chanting. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. Mind and Nature Explained.
To really get started, we have to decode Bodhidharma's core thesis, which states the original nature is precisely the mind. The mind is precisely the nature. Now that sounds beautiful, doesn't it? But let's be real, it can also seem incredibly abstract at first glance. I mean, what does it actually mean that mind and nature are the exact same thing? Well, this is exactly where teacher Lin Mingxiang's notes break it down brilliantly for us.
What's super interesting here is how Teacher Lin actually distinguishes the two so we can truly understand their unity. He says the original mind is the quiet, formless wisdom. It has no shape whatsoever, it's perfectly tranquil and totally clear. Original nature, on the other hand, is prajna. It's how that quiet wisdom dynamically interacts with the real world. Basically, nature is what happens when your mind actually meets conditions and discerns the phenomena around you.
And to really hammer this home, Teacher Lin gives us this incredible metaphor. He says the original mind is like a lamp, and original nature is like the light it casts. Where the lamp is, the light is. When the light shines, the lamp is bright. They are one single substance eternally intermingling. It essentially means that your internal stillness, the lamp, naturally harmonizes with all the crazy phenomena of the universe, the light. They aren't two different things at all. They are a unified state of complete freedom and perfect abundance. Okay, moving on to Section 2, the patience of non-birth. Now, I know these Sanskrit terms can sound super intimidating, but Lin Mingxiang demystifies them into this amazingly simple two-step protocol for your daily practice. According to his teachings, to reach this state where you are completely unbothered by endless distractions, you just follow a sequence. Step 1 is samabhati, which means contemplative observation. You simply observe and enter into the truth of your wondrous original substance. Step 2 is shamatha, which means calming. Once you observe that truth, you just rest peacefully and immovably within it. It's really that simple. First you observe, then you still yourself. So the crucial point here is how this actually plays out in real action. Teacher Lin uses the scripture of eternal purity to contrast the true constant with responding to things. See, there's this massive misconception that reaching true emptiness means detaching from the world, going to sit on a remote mountain and just ignoring everyone. But Len's commentary stresses that true emptiness does not mean empty space. It's a wondrous substance. Because it's so incredibly pure, you can freely respond to life's chaos, which is wondrous existence appearing according to conditions, without getting stained by it. You maintain your internal purity even while you're paying your bills, dealing with a highly difficult boss, or navigating a full-blown crisis.
Which brings us nicely to Section 3, Guan Yin and Daily Life.
So how on earth do we actually apply this high-level philosophy? Well, Teacher Lin teaches a concept in his handouts called the point of response. And what is the point of response? It is quite literally just the interactions, the movements, and the completely normal occurrences of your everyday day. You don't need some secluded cave to practice Zen. Your normal, messy, everyday life is the exact place where your original nature does its best work. Every single conversation, every overflowing inbox, every stressful commute, that is your point of response. And here is where Teacher Lin drops a truly powerful insight. If you realize that at the point of response there's originally no mind, you attain the name Guan Yin. Just think about what that implies for a second. Guan Yin, or Avalokiteshvara, is the bodhisattva of compassion, the one who contemplates the sounds of the world with just perfect ease. By realizing that your daily frustrations and interactions are ultimately empty, that there's literally no mind attached to them, you act with that exact same compassion and ease. You literally attain the state of Guan Yin right there in the middle of your living room or your office. How amazing is that? But let's be real for a minute. Knowing this in theory is one thing. When reality actually hits, when you are stressed out, completely exhausted, or facing a genuine life crisis, how do we practically anchor our minds? How do we possibly maintain this stillness when the whole world becomes overwhelming?
That question leads us straight into Section 4, the Pure Land Method.
This is exactly where Teacher Lin transitions us from high philosophy to an immensely accessible, everyday tool. He explains that while the philosophy of mind and nature is incredibly profound, the ultimate life hack for accessing it is surprisingly simple: chanting the 6-syllable name Namo Amitabha Buddha. In his notes, he actually calls this a supreme immortal pill. It might seem almost too simple, but Lin teaches that this single act is actually a profound method that instantly connects your mind to ultimate stillness. You don't even have to perfectly master the complex steps of observation and calming we talked about earlier. By simply reciting this name with deep focus, it is equivalent to the perfect simultaneous cultivation of all those supreme meditative states. It just cuts straight through the noise and ferries you directly to the eternal silent light Pure Land.
And finally, Section 5, the power of chanting.
To truly grasp the stakes of this practice, we have to look at its tangible impact. 80 billion. Lin notes the scriptural promise from the Pure Land teachings that a single recitation of the Buddha's name eliminates 80 billion kalpas of birth and death offenses. Now, to put that in perspective, a kalpa is an unfathomably long period of time. It's practically eternity. The point here isn't just about the math, it's about the sheer, overpowering efficacy of the practice itself. Every single time you chant, you are instantly purifying your mind of an immense backlog of karmic weight. To ground this in a modern, dramatic reality, Teacher Lin's handouts share a really striking anecdote from a YouTube video about a devastating bus crash. The bus was carrying exactly 48 people when absolute tragedy struck. Out of all 48 passengers on that doomed vehicle, there was exactly one survivor. Just one. And you know who it was? It was the single person on the bus who was loudly, continuously chanting the Buddha's name when the crash occurred. Now, whether you view this through a lens of supernatural intervention or, as the ultimate example of a mind achieving perfect life-saving clarity and physical relaxation in a moment of sheer terror, the core lesson Teacher Lin imparts is exactly the same. This practice anchors you when you need it the absolute most. Which brings us to this final, beautifully poetic thought from Teacher Lin's notes. The mind is already like the divine needle that stabilizes the sea, steady as Mount High. By understanding your original nature and using the highly practical tool of chanting, your mind genuinely becomes an unbreakable anchor. So I'm going to leave you with this to chew on. If you actively apply these teachings in your daily point of response, how could your own mind become as immovable as a mountain in the face of life's greatest challenges? Really think about the storms you're facing right now and ask yourself, are you ready to drop the divine needle and finally stabilize your own sea?